Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. We've got a Thursday afternoon edition, a Lakers Warriors edition, a Bay versus LA edition. We're going to talk some Niners draft too, but we thought we'd warm up with sort of the pressing, hottest stuff, which is game 2 tonight at Chase Center. But before we get too deep into what we're going to talk about and all that, let me introduce Crystal Peachy B, Miss Peachy. And you can find her at Crystal Peachy B on Twitter. I'm sure you know her from Nitty Gritty Niner Talk at NGN Talk. Also, she's the manager for the Wayne Breezy Show. And Wayne Breezy himself, he probably needs a little management. Just got to keep him reined in and moving in the right directions. Peachy, thanks for joining us today. And I'm excited to chop things up with you. And I'll give you a second there so you can. Always good to have a drink on hand in case you get parched.
Trying to clear my throat. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
no
good.
doubt about it.
I am. I'm happy to be here. Doing this game 2 is very crucial. It's crucial for both sides. It really is. So it's definitely must see. Did you hear that game 1 got the highest views for the playoffs, even the finals? So
I was saying I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised if this gets more views than the
huge.
finals. Steph
Right.
versus LeBron, it's must-see TV.
Yes.
It's been building for years.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the Warriors beat the Cavs in 2015 or 2014-15,
Right.
and then LeBron beat the Warriors in 2015-16, and then the KD Steph years.
Right.
They beat LeBron back-to-back seasons.
Right.
So yes, it's been brewing for a while. Of course, LeBron got that bubble ring in 2020, but nonetheless, some people say it was tougher because of playing with no crowds and tough situation to be in for the players to be away from their
So I
families
think,
and loved ones.
what it was for me in the bubble, and everyone calls it a bubble ring, and they say that's fake, and until the Lakers are able to get another one, it's not going to be acknowledged. But here's my thing that it's like, well, what if your team had done it? I mean, would you appreciate the fact that people are calling it, like fake? Not, that we shouldn't count it in that, because I can go back over the years and count several that we shouldn't, and actually, a lot of people know this though already, but you might not know this. I actually love the Warriors. When we're
Oh,
not
I did
playing
not know
them,
that.
I root for Golden State. I'm
Okay.
not like a Warriors fan, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just a Laker fan, but I love the Warriors. Like I love the players. I love Steph. I love Clay. Clay's one of my favorite players in the whole NBA, as a matter of fact. But the reason why I brought
Right.
that up is because there's a lot of like animosity, and I'm like, but I love Golden State. So if like a lot of people know this, but you probably don't, I would question the one that the Raptors won, because had Katie not got hurt, had Steph not went down, you know what I'm saying? Or
Clay.
not,
Yeah.
or sorry, Clay,
Yeah.
you know,
hmm
because Golden State was actually like on their way back to beat Toronto. And if they hadn't have got hurt, Clay tried his best to stay out there as much as he could. I felt
Even shot the
so
free throws. Yeah.
right. I felt so bad for him. So you can question anything. The other thing that I will say about the bubble was, yeah, there was no fans, and people think, well, you lose that advantage, or disadvantage, like going to the enemies, okay. But what about being away from your family and not being around your family for months, basically, while this is going on, like the whole thing? Because people got to remember, the bubble didn't start with the playoffs. The bubble finished out, the rest of the NBA season. So these guys were there for months, and all the restrictions that you had, and all these different things, and to me, that's what made it harder. I know Some people agree and some people do not. The fan thing, I do get that. But being away from your families, the stress of, worrying because, COVID, it was so bad, that worried about your families having it and everything. It was just a lot. So it really, to me, when people do that, the only thing I say is, well, let's go back and let's question some of these. Like the one when the NBA was on strike. I mean, that, and all these different things. So you can definitely do that. That's just my defense of that. But I want people to know that who's watching. If you don't know me like that, I love Golden State, just not in this series.
There you go. There you go. No, I did not know that, and I'm impressed by that. I agree. The Toronto Raptors ring definitely deserves an asterisk because if Clay doesn't tear his ACL and Katie doesn't tear his Achilles,
Exactly.
there's no way in my mind the Warriors
No.
don't win that.
That's right.
So yeah, so that one gets an asterisk. That's a good point. Some people put an asterisk on the Warriors' first championship because Kevin Love was injured before the finals started. Kyrie Irving went down fairly early in the finals, and so some people say that the Cavs would have beat the Warriors if they were full strength. And I mean, I can't sit here and tell you that wouldn't be the case. It was
Right.
super close. I feel like the only reason why the Warriors won that was because Steve Kerr finally figured out to put Iguodala on to LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, it looked like the Cavs were going to do it even without those two guys. So
Right.
with them, I mean, it's hard to say that they might not have won that.
Right.
No doubt about it. The chat is blowing up. So let's talk about that. But remind me to talk about my Lakers fandom,
Okay.
if you can. So we got Cinnamon Kiss in the house. She's giving us a wave.
Listen.
Got great ones saying hi to Peachy. We got Bebop out of the Philly area saying hello, Ted and Peachy. Brandon Ferrigno saying what's up, Ted and Peachy. He's also asking if I'm going to be on the show tonight. The 49ers Podcast Network did a live stream of the Lakers Warriors game 1. I was able to watch the first half, and then my son went to bed, and my wife wanted to watch the second half with me, so I missed the second half. But yeah, I'll do my best, Brandon. I think I should be able to get by at least some, but as long as you don't mind me popping in and out, or my son coming in and interrupting, then yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be there for at least a little bit of it. We got Randy Daytona in the house saying Peachy, giving us some love. Melissa Rebel in the house saying may the 4th be with you. Ted and Crystal. Yes, the 4th be with all of us. Yes, happy Star Wars Day, folks.
Yes.
So yeah, and then also, I mean, you tweeted it, so I think it's okay for me to mention. It's also Peachy's deceased mother's birthday today, and so a special day for her. But also, if she seems a little emotional, that's why. So let's be everyone. I think everyone's always pretty nice to you, but just in case someone was thinking not to be, if somebody's getting nasty, like think twice, please, because I might have to be extra quick on booting people if anything like that were to happen. Randy said, "Sup, Ted? Some flowers for the faithful." Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. And Brendan says, "I love Miss Peachy, always the sweetest." Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, just don't mess with her though, because there's some toughness, and I think she can mirror your energy. If you come at her, you better be ready for some arrows coming back, I think. Good to see you, Randy and Brandon. Okay, they're just saying hi. Let me get down into Stevo Supremo saying Lakers fandom. I'm not sure if he's a Lakers fan or not. But I'll
I think he was just going by what you said because you were talking about that.
To remind me. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I mean, basically, I've been a sports fan since the 1976 when I became a Niners fan. It's the same thing with the Niners too. They were really bad then. They were out of the playoffs. I rooted for the Cowboys. My dad's from Dallas. I rooted for the Cowboys when they beat Denver and when they lost to Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. So when the catch happened, I was happy that the Niners won, but I would have been happier if it wasn't the Cowboys. I didn't really learn to hate the Cowboys till the 90s, till Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin. That's when I really
because they were just really so annoying. And they were just so
and they were so good. And they were so
They
cleaned our
great.
Clocks till we got Dion. That was our only hope. No doubt. So
there was that though. That's true.
So with the Warriors, it's even more like that because I was too young to remember the 75 championship. And then 76 to like even the mid 80s when we got Run TMC, and that was fun. We could at least got some offense, but there was no defense. There was no playoffs. There was no playoff wins, anything like that. So yeah, I bandwagon the Showtime Lakers. Absolutely, I was a big Magic and Kareem fan. I bandwagoned the Bulls, the Michael Jordan Bulls, and then I kind of got out of it a little. I wasn't really a big Kobe. I like Kobe, but I wasn't a big Shaq fan. I'll be honest. I just felt like he's just the biggest dude, and the hack a Shaq thing was like, oh, dude, come on, fix the free throws. Come on, man. I just
Yeah.
felt like he was lazy with that. I feel like that's just something where you just put in the work and that. But maybe he's just too
Right.
big and he just couldn't do it. I'll give him benefit
Yeah.
of the doubt. But so anyway, so I've been a Laker fan, and then the other thing about the Lakers is we've never ever been in the playoffs against the Lakers. So there was the one play in,
It was way
yeah, a few years back,
they
but
were
it was like
talking about that the last time was what was it like? I can't even remember the last time, but it's been a long time ago since it's been
it
Warriors
almost
Lakers.
never
So
happens. Almost never
right.
happens. And like the play in, it was like, okay, who's going to play in and lose in the first round? Big whoop. It's not like who's going to play
Exactly.
in and go win a ring. Neither of those teams was winning a ring that year. So I just,
Yeah.
it was like Steph and Dre and a bunch of scrubs. And people say
Hmm.
Wiggins, but honestly, Wiggins was still kind of a scrub back then.
Yeah. See,
So,
my whole thing
not a
is
scrub,
like
but he was
with the
overrated.
right.
He was still kind of considered a bust for being the number one overall pick, right?
With the play in, like that year when we beat Golden State or whatever, and went up against Phoenix, we were up 2-0 on the Suns, and then AD got hurt, and that's what took us out. Kind of like the focal point of what we got going on now, that he needs to be healthy and doing what he's doing for us to have any chance whatsoever of doing anything. But a lot of people forget about that. They're like, the Lakers were up 2-0 against the Suns. This is like the really good Suns team. This is a Suns team that went on to go pretty far. So, they didn't win the chip, but they still did. So a fun fact, I actually went to school with Shaq.
Oh, no way.
And I
At
lived
LSU.
like right down the street at him. No. High school.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Shaq is from, if anybody doesn't know who's lived under a rock, Shaq is from San Antonio, Texas, was on the military post at Fort Sam
That's
Houston.
right. I had forgotten that.
And we literally lived like 5 houses down from him, like when he was in school. So just thought I'd put that as a fun fact about that. Everything. But like I said, I have all appreciation in the world for Golden State. We're just playing them, and and that's the only thing there is. But there are some people, and I don't believe it's Niner fans. Well, one of them's a Niner fan. I'll just leave it at that. And they were pretty harsh about some of the things they were saying. And one of them actually wished injury on AD. And I'm like, wow, that is like, you can't do things like that. Like, that's horrible. One, it
Yeah.
normally backfires. And two,
Yes.
you just
Bad
can't
karma.
do that. Like, it's so classless to
Mm-hmm.
wish that, well, he's not going to hold up, probably next game, he's going to blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can't, don't do things like that. It's very classless. But the majority of the 49er fans, they had their cute little banter back and forth, and whatever. And the thing about the refs and all this other stuff and things like that, and that's fine because that's just gamesmanship. That's just, two fans, like going at each other, whatever. But when it comes to injury, like, I don't even like that. Even with my 49ers, like, when people say that, it really, really like pisses me off really bad. It's like, don't be doing that. Don't be wishing injury on it. Because what happened was when we played the Cowboys, and that dude had went on the radio show, not sure you heard about it, and he basically went on this popular radio show in Dallas.
Oh,
and
said
was
Nick
talking
Bosa.
about that he wished that CMC,
Oh,
something
CMC,
happened to
that's right.
CMC, and what happened in there, Tony Pollard. You cannot do that. You just cannot wish injury on it. Normally backfires. So if there's any Warrior fans who are wishing that, I wouldn't. Just
No,
let it
I
play
mean,
out.
I'm a
Because
big
man,
believer. Never wish for injury. Not even on your most
right,
hated player, your most hated
right,
team.
right,
Seattle Seahawks,
yeah.
LeBron James. Yeah, I never wished for it. However, I did that. The guy who does some of my designing did a video with me, and he said the Lakers hurt people. He said they hurt people in the bubble, and that's why he's basically saying like people say, oh well, teams are hurt that doesn't count. He's like, well, Lakers are physical and they knock people out. He said 2 Warriors would get knocked out of this. I don't think he's wishing for it. He's just sort of predicting it. It's a little. I don't know if that's different or not, but anyway, bottom line is, yeah, I'm not a big believer in
Yeah.
doing that, and I think it's bad karma. But it can happen on both sides, and yeah, I
Right.
just always say, let's have good games, let's have
Right.
good health, and
Yeah.
some good refs, and so far we've had two. So, but what
Yeah,
I would
well.
say about Anthony Davis that isn't mean or wishing injury is like I don't think you can expect him to play like he played consistently through this
Oh, no, no,
series.
no. Of course not, because
Yeah,
he's
he'll get
literally got a
tired.
pattern where he's
Yeah,
on one game and off the next, and it's just because
yeah,
he's exhausted. So
yeah,
then,
yeah.
like game like tonight, I I would be shocked if AD, did all of that he did in the. I tell you what though, if he does, man, there's a whew, goodness, because I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna have to be more of the rest of our players to step up to help him out. But then, like when we go back to crypto or stake, it's so hard to say that crypto staples.
.com. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right. Just like you guys, with the Chase Center, but you were at the Oracle for so long. And
The
I
Oracle.
still
I
say
miss
the
those
Oracle
days.
like all the time. But
Yeah,
when we go
Chase
back
is not the
there,
same.
right, AD is going to be, what I'm saying, he'll probably be on point, game 3 because he will have rested. So I don't
Yeah,
expect AD to have, to be as dominant as he was in this, in game 1, because I just
yeah.
don't see that coming.
No, that makes perfect sense. Just want to call out some people here in the chat. We've got some folks from the future. We've got Paul Hope saying, "Peachy, what's
Hey,
up? Giving you
Paul.
some love." So it's late over there.
I
It's like
know.
11:30 at night, and
Thank
and
you
not
for
only
tuning
Paul Hope,
in.
but we also have Lee Gowland on here as well too. He said, "Need you like Ted's lights, Mr. Gowland?" Oh wait, so he was here. He said, "Oh, here we go." He said, "Live the Neon Lights. Have been trying to get some for ages." Ah, okay. I just Googled 49ers neon lights and also LED lights.
Mm-hmm.
And the Warriors one I found on Fathead. If anybody wants to get one, honestly, I saw one that I think I liked better for the Warriors one that was from Walmart. If you guys want to check out Walmart.com, the other one is about the same price and it doesn't have the black border on it. And I think it's brighter, which might be too bright. I mean, the SF one I got is a little bit too bright.
Right.
But yeah, there's lots of options out there. And some of the cheaper options actually might be better for studio setup because, like I said, I feel like the SF one I got is just a little too bright to see the SF clearly.
Yeah.
But we got Ryan from No Border Sports in the house. He's saying, "Whoa, everybody!" I'm not sure what kind of font that is, but it's like looking like Scandinavian or something. With that accent aigu over a W, which is in French, it would be over a vowel. So I don't know what in the world it is over a W. That's some obscure language, I would say. Well, not one of the main languages. And then, yeah, Lee was just saying, "What's up?" He was saying, "You like the lights?" We got a lot of stuff here. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with the chat, folks. I apologize in advance because I also want to talk to Crystal here. But, ultimately, I feel like the refs were a little sus in game 1. There's the whole thing. They're saying the Warriors didn't drive the paint enough because we shot 53 threes. But what a lot of people don't know is we also shot 53 paint shots. And the Lakers shot 67. So that's, Lakers shot more. But then to get 29 free throws to 6, that's almost 5-1. It's a big difference. And there were blocks. I get that. There's reasons why the Lakers should have more. And I'm not going to sit here and argue that the Warriors should ever have more than the Lakers. and but just not 5-1. All right, that's the thing that I'm going to say. So we'll see. There was like a compilation of the fouls, and a few of them look suspect. And a Lakers fan came at me in the timeline and said, "Well, only two or three were bad." I'm like, "Well, in a game that's close, how
Right.
2 to 3 makes a
Two
difference."
or
And
three
first of all, I
can.
said, first of all, I disagree that it's only 2 to 3, but let's just go with what you said.
There
And two to
was
three, it's
well,
enough.
there
Especially it was
was
Jordan
two to
Poole could have
three
tied it with a three
obvious
pointer.
ones. There
Yeah.
there was 2 to 3 obvious ones is what they're probably trying to say.
Yeah,
There
and
were
I'm sure some were missed on the Warriors too. Let's be
right
fair, right?
in
I mean,
in
it goes
any
both ways.
NBA game that you have and that you watch, if you watch a lot of NBA like I do, you see all kinds of stuff, and sometimes they get it, sometimes they didn't. I was surprised because the game was at Chase that there was that many, you know what I'm saying, like that it went that way, because I really would have thought at home, I would have thought that the Warriors would have got, that it would have been different. So I do know that Steve Kerr did talk about, the fouls a little bit. And he had said that the refs in his opinion were fine, that his players needed to stop fouling so much. There's a stat and it made a lot of people mad. Apparently this year you guys have been the highest fouling team in the NBA. So that's one thing that you guys have had to work on, is the defending without fouling, is one thing. I will say this though. I thought in the third quarter, when the refs started, like calling, things against the Lakers, I was like, okay, so now they're going to even it out. So now they're going to like every little thing, they're going to ticky tack and whatever. I just knew in the third quarter we were going to be done, because I was like, they're probably going to go the line like 15 times in the third quarter so they can, make this right. But there, there was about 2 to 3 horrible, horrible ones that should have been called against the Lakers. I'm not going to sit up here just because I'm a fan and be like that, because I'm not like that.
Thank you, Peachy.
I'm going to call it across the board. I will say,
Unbiased, I love it.
I will say that because we're not a jump shooting team and you guys are, I do realize that you guys had a lot in the paint. But if you guys like attack the paint, like I'm so used to Steph, like, drawing fouls because he, used to live in the paint. You know what I'm saying? Like he would, have the threes, of course, but his thing that was so impressive to me was how he, like orchestrated in the paint. So I'm sure tonight that they'll go back to that Steph so that he can, get in the paint, because AD, I don't expect AD to be the same. I don't even expect AD to play. I think AD might play like maybe 35 minutes or something like that. He's not going to play the whole game. I know he's not going to do that. So I do look for Steph to be, orchestrating in the paint and draw more fouls. I do think that you guys are going to shoot less as far as jump shooting. And I think another reason why that you guys jump shot a lot is because they were exhausted from, the 7 game, stretch. They just came off 7 games. And that's why they were just, jacking up threes and doing things like that. I feel like that they've got some rest now, and I think their mentals are going to be better. So I think that we're going to see, Steph, do what he does, in the paint. So
No doubt about it. I saw Lee Galland saying Warriors in 6, and I was like, wow, that's aggressive. I mean, I'm not saying we can't win in 6, but I picked us in 7 before because I thought the way I thought it would play out would be I thought we might drop last night, and I didn't pick us to lose, but I wasn't surprised that we lost. Well, not last night, but Tuesday night. And and then I thought we'd probably split. I thought we'd win tonight, split in crypto, come back to Chase, and then we have 2 out of 3 games at Chase. So win, 2 of those last 3 there, or maybe do it in 6. But I think 7 was the most likely, and and I'm still sticking with that. But I like that Lee's optimistic with 6. Great one says Anthony Davis nickname is funny though. Street clothes.
AD
I
has a
haven't heard that one
lot of
before.
nicknames. He has always disabled,
Oh,
whatever.
ouch.
But
Yeah.
Tuesday, he got another name, always dominant. because he was
He
very
was
dominant in
very
that
dominant
game.
against everybody we put on him too.
Right.
Looney, Draymond,
Yeah.
Wiggins,
Hmm.
Clay. He just owned them all. He was straight up dominant.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, like I mean, I still think that we can let him do that, and as long as the others are playing like they did, I think the
Exactly.
main thing I think the Warriors need to do is just keep Steph on ball. I think when
Yeah.
he's off ball,
Hmm.
people are allowed to mug him too much.
Yeah.
And then people say, oh, they're moving screen merchants. They're moving screen merchants. But it's like, of course we are. They're not calling the fouls off ball. Then you got to do what you got to do. And so the refs are letting that slide and they're letting that slide. They're letting both slides. Like
Yeah.
one bad play begets
Right.
another, in my opinion.
I have a feeling that Steph Curry is going to have the ball in his hand so much tonight that it's going to be glued to him, because that's their way of, like, that's how they play. So that's why, I was trying to tell people, like, Tuesday, I was like, this is an anomaly, not an anomaly because we won. It was an anomaly to kind of watch the fact that Steph didn't hardly have the ball in his hands. Like, I'm like, why would they not, like, what is this? Like, I don't understand, like, what's going on. Like, and that final shot heard round the world, whatever, should have been Steph. There's no way. I don't care what they say. I saw Steph's expression when that didn't go in, and I don't care what they said after the game. I don't care what Draymond said on his podcast. I don't care about none of that. Steph Curry should have had that ball. That ball was way too far back for that not to be a Curry shot. And had Draymond and I forgot the other one, moved up faster instead of just crawling up there and got there, Poole probably could have got in a better position to shoot a better three anyway. So, you know, that was crazy. We got exhausted in the fourth quarter because you guys have, like, people that just run around like this right here, and you basically just wore us out. So in the fourth quarter is when, things got crazy, and that's when, Steph did Steph things, make his comeback, because the defense was lax and AD was exhausted. That's why I just don't see AD being able to do this 44-minute thing, like, through this whole series. Like, there's no way he's going to be able to do that. But
No doubt, he looked tuckered already in the fourth
he
quarter, and
was
that was after
exhausted
4 days rest.
in the
So
fourth quarter,
after one
right?
after 1 day rest, it's going to happen in the second or third quarter tonight, would be my guess, if he's in
Right.
there. Unless, like you said, unless they rest him a lot
Yeah.
to keep him fresh, and then that way, I think we just pull ahead
Yeah.
anyway. Interesting. I just want to call it NFL rumors in the house. First
Hey.
time guest. And a big time Twitter account. So thanks for coming, NFL Rumors. And someday I'm going to lock him down and get him on the show too. He's got a cool Southern accent. I heard some audio of him, and I definitely want to get him out here on TED Talks Ball one of these days. So
Yeah.
we'll have to figure that out one of these days. Bryant Culp in the house just started his own channel. So everybody make sure you like and
Bryant.
subscribe to Bryant Culp. He's doing great things. And then we got Randy Daytona live and direct. Absolutely. They're saying hi to each other. Kerr only rotating 7. We'll see. A lot of people want to see Kuminga tonight.
Yeah.
So
And I really
wouldn't be
think
surprised.
that you guys are going to see Kuminga. That's another thing. I think that the whole entire philosophy is just going to be different. Draymond had said that the one thing that had thrown them off, that probably won't throw them off tonight, is LeBron being so off ball. They're used to, LeBron having the ball in his hands all the time, like Steph normally has the ball in his hands. And LeBron is just not doing that because he just doesn't want to exert all that energy. Older, is still, dealing with the injury, that he got or whatever, that he's supposed to have surgery on, but he, decided to wait till after the season. So he's dealing with all these things. So he tries to conserve as much as he can. And that's why LeBron's hitting a bunch of jumpers that's not going in, because he's just, out there, whatever. But Draymond said that was definitely something that they had to pay attention to. So I'm sure that when they went back and they watched that game, that they realized, what they need to do for adjustments. And of course, the Lakers will make adjustments, in everything as much as they can. But definitely, I I would really be surprised if Kaminga wasn't out there tonight. So
Me too, at least a little bit. Um, Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think it should be a hell of a game. Again, I thought it would be a really good game one. I think it's going to be a really good game two.
mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised to see it come down to the wire again.
Yeah.
I do think the Warriors win, though, tonight. So we'll see. What else? There was something else that somebody was saying, maybe not. That I wanted to know what your cat's name is. I think your cat wants to be on the show.
Oh my God. My cat's name is Danny, and I can't shut her up. She's hungry, but she's gonna wait a few more minutes before she eats, and she's determined to be. I'm surprised that she's not jumped up on my lap, because a lot of times she'll jump up on my lap and to get up here to get so that she can be
Get on
seen
show?
while she's meowing.
Yeah.
She does that all the time.
It's like, Mom, I'm here.
Yeah, but so let me ask you this: what did you think about the final shot that Poole took?
I mean, I would have liked it if he was a little closer, but there were defenders in there, and Poole's hit some pretty big shots from us before. Like you said, I'd much rather it was Steph. But, he had a pretty good game. I mean, he was my X Factor before the game started on that live stream. They asked, who's your X Factor? And I said, Jordan Poole has played poorly the last 2 to 3 games against the Kings. And I said he really needs to step up if the Warriors want to have a chance. And he really did. He played really well up till that point. He had one heat check, 3 that he probably shouldn't have taken. And then that one was almost a heat check.
It was close.
But it was, time was running down, and I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm kind of ambivalent on it. I like I said, I mean, I wish she was a little step or two closer to the line, but then it might have brought those defenders into play. I mean, they weren't as far away as some people like to say,
right.
But maybe one more step split the difference. I think it was 2-3 steps back.
Yeah.
I think one step. Yeah. And also, what I'll say about that shot, Crystal, as long as we're being honest, I'll say I would really like it if Darvin Ham wasn't on the court waving his hand in front of Poole's face. He was stepped onto the floor, and he had his arm out, and it wasn't like in front of his face, but it was probably in his peripheral vision, and it's just enough to be something that, it's illegal. He should have been penalized, and I just hope we never see that again in this series, in any series. I don't know how that's allowed to happen.
I don't know. The only thing that I know is that I know that Poole's percentage, they said, of shooting balls that far back is 19%.
Yeah.
Steph's is like 58%. So
but they weren't going to let Steph or Clay take that shot.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
They weren't.
They knew what they were doing. Of course, we knew what we were doing.
Then it's got to be Poole or Wiggins, and Wiggins has not been good from 3. He had one game against the Kings where he's 3 for 6, but I remember game 1 he was 1 for 8, game 2 he was 2 for 8, then he went 3 for 6, then he was okay, but then he's like 1 for 5 last night. I forget what he was, but 1 for 5, 1 for 6, something like that. So kind of back to scuffling. And when I made my Kings prediction, I said Dubs in 5 or Dubs in 6 if Wiggins is rusty, because I thought he would snap out of it quickly, but he's still rusty. So that's a big X factor too. Can Poole get unrustified? And then also Dante DiVincenzo. He was so good during the regular season, and now he is, other than one game 3, when Draymond was out, he was everywhere. But other than that, he's been pretty much a no-show for the playoffs. So those are my
Great One 765 actually has a great point. JaMychal Green, I was literally afraid of him because he had just popped hot, and a lot of people wish that Kerr had just left him out there because, 1, because of the size, and 2, because he could not miss. Like when he was out there, he was shooting those, he shot 2 back-to-back threes. And I did see where some of my Warrior friends were like, I don't even know why we took him out. We should just left him out. Whoever was hot, we should just left them out there to, just to score points and to, defend. Because I've always liked JaMychal Green. I really have.
He definitely shot well for him in that game. I was surprised when he made a couple threes. He ended up missing a third one. And I think he had a defensive lapse or a foul, maybe is why he got pulled. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, people have talked about like, why, Ted, why are you so bullish on the Warriors? I'm like, basically, this is the same team as that won the ring last year, except for if you sub out Otto Porter and you sub in Dante DiVincenzo. But then I guess the one person we are missing is Bielitsa. He was a big who could
Oh yeah.
facilitate and he could shoot threes. And so
Mm-hmm.
Jermichael Green could fill that role. That would probably be pretty big. I have my doubts about him, but I see what people are saying, and it might be worth trying here in game two. That's what we'll leave up to Steve Kerr. I was in an argument with somebody on the timeline who said coaches don't matter in the playoffs. I mean, I'm
What?
like, what? Yeah. So when I get people like that, you know what I do? I start a poll. I'm just like, hey, let me
You
do a poll.
can't.
Yeah,
You.
I'm not gonna go back and forth with somebody being absolutely
I.
unreasonable.
Yeah. That's the thing, because when you try to go back, my mom used to have a saying, God rest her soul, that when you go back and forth with a crazy person, it just makes you crazier.
Yeah, it makes
Because
people start to wonder who the crazy person
right,
is, right?
because
Yeah,
you're literally like talking at someone who is just speaking nonsense. Like, coaching completely matters, especially in playoffs.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, definitely.
I mean, just look at so far with like putting Jordan Poole in the starting lineup when
Yeah.
Draymond was out. We kept him in. We did a 3-game win streak that way. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of Warriors fans are get unhappy with Steve Kerr. It's a lot like the Fire Kyle crowd. We got the Fire Kerr crowd in Warriors land, and I'm just like, come on, the dude's got 9 rings. And
Oh
more
yeah.
than that, I did a short that I released where I was saying I think that there's a method to Kerr's madness that he handicaps the team during the regular season and against lesser opponents like the Kings, so that
Mm-hmm.
when we come up against a really strong opponent like the Lakers, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like cruise and hit a wall. It's like, oh, we've been battling. We just keep on battling, and
Right.
we're ready. We're battle tested, and so I think that
Mm-hmm.
is what Kerr does. And
Yes.
I'm just like, hey, don't get mad at Kerr until we get bounced from the playoffs. Until then, you got nothing to say. I mean, we won 4 rings in 8 years.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, the Raptors one should have been ours too. If you want to play the what if game, if Draymond hadn't been suspended from Game
Mm-hmm.
5 and Steph fouled out of Game 6 in 2016, I mean, I'm saying we would have swept LeBron or gone back to back against LeBron, and probably never would have gotten KD in the first place. I think losing that one was big. We got Terradome in the house. He's saying peachy, giving you some Lakers colors, some purple and yellow. Um, and Bebop's saying Bucks coach got fired. LOL. Yeah, I mean that's exactly why they felt like Steve Budenholzer. They felt like he was part of the reason why they lost. So,
Right.
so
Yep.
Steve Spring says Green won't be asked back to LA under any circumstances. I guess that's Jermichael Green. He means the coach Green. Is that what he's? I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know.
Or maybe it's Draymond Green. I don't know.
No, it's
Anyway,
not gonna be
tell us
Draymond.
tell us what you mean, Steve-O.
I guess it's talking about
Uh,
Michael Green, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know what that. I don't
Sin
know.
saying Peachy and
Hey,
Ted.
Sin.
We got Steve Supremo. GP2 got to go 20 or it's a sweep. No, GP2 doesn't have to score a lot. He needs to shoot. Well, first of all, all right, here's what GP2 needs to do. All right, he took 2 threes above the break, and that he does not do that. He shoots corner threes only,
No.
and he needs to slam dunk some slam dunks. But if he scores 6 or 8 points, that's plenty, as long as he's efficient. And then he plays good D. That's the thing. GP2 is one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. The issue is that he's not real tall. He's only 6'2". And so, like with the Kings, he struggled with their length. And obviously, the Lakers are a very long, tall team as well, too.
Right.
So that's the issue. And then Cinemacus is saying Kitty. I'm sorry, you say his name is Dan or Danny? Danny?
Her name is Danny. She's
Oh,
named after Daenerys from the
oh,
Game
Game
of
of
Thrones.
Thrones.
Yeah, I'm a huge
Oh,
GOT fan.
yeah.
So,
Me too. Me too. Except for the
so
ending. Yeah.
oh, just oh, God,
Ugh,
yeah. Don't even get me
it was
started.
like
We
so
could do
good,
a
so good,
whole
so good, and
entire
it's like, oh,
yeah, we could
really?
do a whole
Yeah.
podcast on the A season. Like
It was
God.
pretty epic. Some
And
leading
just
up to it, though.
ruined
It's
a
good. It's so
whole
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
It
just
was so
ruined the
good that you
whole
kind of
entire
forgive
thing.
it, but yeah, you definitely want to see a better
I still
ending.
don't forgive it.
Okay, there you go. So we're split on that. There's one split.
No.
Bebop saying tough business indeed. They finished number one too. LOL. I think he's meaning the Bucks. Number one. Yeah, and I guess they had the number one seed for sure in the East. Were they number one ahead of the Nuggets too? I'm not
Oh,
aware
they're
of who would
talking
have had home
about
court if they had both made it to the Bucks, the Milwaukee
yeah,
Bucks.
Budenholzer got fired.
Yeah, yeah.
So that he's talking about that, yeah. But you know what? He needs to go because you can't have that great of a team like they did and then get bounced like that. Like that was just
By the
embarrassing.
eight seed.
Yes. So
But
anytime,
although I mean, Jimmy buckets, man, he just is a different guy in the
yeah, he
playoffs,
really
and
is.
especially it's crazy they did it without Oladipo. Too. I mean, he was there for the beginning, but like he
Yeah.
wasn't there for the last two
Mm-mm.
three games, and
No.
now they're kind of holding their own against the
Right.
next. Is it
Right.
1-1 or are they down 1-2?
It's one
I know they
one.
won the first game. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 1-1.
It's one
So
one. But here's what's crazy: the Heat without Jimmy Butler, they almost beat the Knicks. It took everything that the Knicks had to win that game without Jimmy. So people are like, "Oh, the Knicks got this." I said, "Man, I got the Heat." I still say that Miami is going to do this in six because they have two. They have two games in Miami. It would
there
not
you go.
surprise me if they didn't win both because I love like the Knicks have a lot of people on there. Like they have a couple of my ex Lakers and just other people that I just have followed since college. And I just am telling you that this Heat is just different because Eric Spoelstra is just different. Like he's just one of the
Spo,
best coaches ever,
he is.
and he always has his guys playing so hard, regardless. And the fact that they were able to almost beat the Knicks in the Garden, and it took everything the Knicks could do to win that game,
With no
says something,
Oladipo.
right?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Um,
And so
without
he had a
Oladipo,
real,
without Jimmy, without Hero.
yeah, Tyler Hero.
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
no, some serious depth.
Mm-hmm.
Serious depth going on. Yeah, hats off. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Buckets. I love watching him in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they can pull it out somehow. Young Montana says Peachy broke my heart when I saw the Lakers stuff. Yeah, we got to, it's tough this series on Niners fans because
It
we're
is.
kind of split. But I mean, it was
Yeah.
tough with Kings. I lost a lot of followers in the Kings
Oh, did you?
series.
Oh,
Oh, for
goodness.
sure, because I was going hard, and and they were just like they were not liking my receipts, which people don't. They're just sometimes people don't like it when I'm going after the opposing team, but when it's your team, yeah, people really don't like it, and I get it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's my thing, and I'm not going to stop. And so I apologize in advance to any Lakers fans that are collateral damage on that. But Young Montana, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I think there's more Laker Niner fans than Warriors Niner fans. Would you say that, Peachy?
I
I mean, at
haven't
least on
seen it.
Twitter,
I
Niners
have.
Twitter.
I don't know about that because what I think that we have is I think we have a bunch of bandwagon Warrior fans that came along during the strength in
Oh,
numbers,
yeah.
thing
Okay.
and not legit. That's why I'm always calling them out. It's like I don't want to hear anything you have to say because you're just bandwagoning off of a team. Like you're
Yeah.
old enough to have had your allegiance like way before the strength and numbers, mantra was born, with Steph and Clay and Draymond, and all that stuff and the death lineup and all that stuff. Like you were so I acknowledge several Warriors fans, but just the ones that are ride or die that can tell me a lot of things before that.
Run TMC or We
Right,
Believe or
exactly. Yes.
like I
Yes,
said,
because
even
I
before I started to know was Rick the Barry with the
mhm.
granny shoot free throws. Pretty cool stuff.
Yes, and there's a lot of diehards that you can tell. And the diehards are also different. Just the way that they even like talk smack is just different than, bandwagoners. But
Yeah,
it's the same way with the 49ers. It's the
it's any good
bandwagon
team,
49ers
any
that,
any top team
right.
in
Any
any
team, they
sport.
just choose one.
Yeah,
So it's,
yeah, they're probably a different one every
you're
season. The
right.
Chiefs
Depending
fans,
on who.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt about it. Absolutely. Pockets the cheesecake says go Kings. Congrats to the Kings, man. They played awesome. They were better than I thought they'd be. De'Aaron Fox is a superstar. Monk is
Oh,
not
he's
far
amazing.
behind.
And congratulations to the coach, Mike Brown.
Mike Brown, love me some Mike
Well
Brown.
deserved.
Yeah,
The the
I was
Kings
saying
had a spectacular season.
Yeah, I was saying an argument today. I was like, Mike Brown is the man. And I said Darvin is just a ham, because I was just saying about how like I thought the Kings had a coaching advantage over the Lakers because not only is Mike Brown a great coach, but he's also knows the Warriors intimately. Like
Oh
from
yeah.
just leaving last year, he
Mm-hmm.
knows exactly what we're going to run and who's going to run it and all of that. So, congrats to the
Right.
Kings. They remind me of the Warriors 10 years ago. I mean, I hope they I'd love to see them take over. If the Warriors, if this is the end of the road for the Warriors, like a lot of people think, I'd love it to be the Kings to take up that mantra
Well,
or that
Steph is
crown or
35.
whatever you want to talk about.
He's
Yeah,
already said that he does not intend on continuing to play in his 40s. He said he wasn't,
right.
he just wasn't going to do that. So
So the
we
clock's ticking.
we know Steph's 35. We know that he's almost, done, very soon. But Draymond, you just never know with Draymond. Clay, is just there, and whatever happens. But regardless of what happens in the series, it's gonna be a great series. It's gonna be box office every time that we have a game against the Lakers, the Lakers and Warriors. It's definitely going to be box office, and it's going to break ratings just like it's already done, because everybody has been dying to see Steph versus LeBron for, whatever. But both of them are getting up there in basketball years, because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm 25 times 2. I don't say that the 50, but
Okay, there you go. Well, I'm 5'2",
and
52 card pickup. So.
so I definitely, am not calling them old, but basketball old. I am.
Yeah.
And now, Steph went to school for, a couple of years. LeBron didn't. So, he's definitely
Right.
basketball old because he's
Especially
been in
with
the
all
league for
those
so
playoffs too.
exactly.
And finals,
And all
10
those
finals.
things. Yeah.
That adds up. It takes a toll. It's incredible how well he's weathered it. No doubt about it. Yeah. And with Steph, yeah, I mean, his days are numbered for sure. And ultimately, I think it could happen as quickly as next year if Draymond doesn't pick up his player option. I
Right.
don't think I said if Draymond leaves, the playoff window slam shut. The only way I see the Warriors continuing if Draymond leaves next year is if Giannis decides to come, because I know Giannis and Steph get along really well. And I've heard some Lakers fans say
right.
that Giannis is going to go to the Lake. Oh, it was
No.
Benji, my producer, was
No.
saying Giannis. He would say Giannis and Tatum were going to be Lakers next year. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Now, the only thing I will say about Jason Tatum, he did say that if he did ever go to another team, that it would definitely be Kobe's team, because that was his guy, and that he would definitely do that. And, which is why, the Celtics fans get so pissed whenever he wears like purple on the floor and, different things like that, to represent Kobe, because he is he was very
so that
tight
one may
with
be
Kobe.
Israel. You can have Tatum. We'll take Giannis. That's fine.
Giannis has already said that he doesn't want to be a part of all that glitz and glamour. He's not that type. I could see him going to Golden State because it's not the same thing. It's definitely different.
Always got along at the All-Star games, I've noticed. So, who knows? We'll see. But definitely Draymond leaving. He's my favorite player. Has been since he arrived. His LeBron talk has been bugging me, and especially now in the series, especially since he kind of laid an egg in game one. I really hope Draymond comes out and has a good game tonight, because I'm starting to have some concerns about him a little bit. Teradome saying, much love to my man Ted, one of my favorite Teds of all time. Pendergrass, Riley, Bear. You forgot Robinson, Teddy Ballgame. Come on, it's Ted Talks Ball, Teddy Ballgame. You got to have him in there. But who is Ted Riley? I don't even know who that is.
Teddy Riley.
Yeah, I don't
He's
know.
from this group that was the guy. It was from this '90s group. The guy. Um,
Ah,
yeah.
cool. Okay. Well, thank you. At least somebody knows because I am
And then
woefully.
he was
I
in
should know who all the good Teds are. I mean, there's so few because there's a
he
lot
was
of
in
not so good Teds. There's like
he was
Ted
in this group
Kennedy, Ted
called
Kaczynski.
Blackstreet. That was out
Yeah.
No Diggity, No Doubt. That right
Okay.
there. That was in. Yeah, that was him
Ah,
too.
okay. That Ted
Hmm.
Riley. Right on. Learn something new every day. At least one thing, hopefully, right?
Right, every day.
Ramilia, the Rams fan, Lakers fan in the house. Terradome was dancing to Teddy Riley last time the Niners
Oh
won.
my
That's a good
god,
one. That's a good one, Ramilia. That's a good one.
that's
But
true.
Ramilia, if it's been so long, then how come the Rams haven't caught up? I mean, not even halfway. Two isn't even halfway to five. So,
Well,
so
that's
answer me that.
absolutely fine. It's probably gonna be that long before the Rams win another one. I'm just
There you
saying
go.
that.
Jim Everett the Great is, I think this is the same guy as the fake Ramilia, is Jim Everett the Great also. Says LeGoat. No, sorry folks, MJ is the GOAT.
MJ is the GOAT.
Yeah, yeah.
Come
I mean,
on.
even a Lakers fan will tell you, come on. But that's because you're not a Braun fan, you're a Lakers fan. That's the
Right. I'm
difference.
not a yeah,
Braun fan, Laker fans will be like, oh, he's the best. He's got the
oh
scoring title.
god. They are the worst fans ever, and I should know because my son is a LeBron fan and has
Mhm.
followed LeBron like since he got just the whole 9 yards. Like ever since he's been in the NBA, my son has been a LeBron fan. So he's the worst. Like he will scream up and down, about all these different things. And I'm like, you guys are not like I told him the day, I said, LeBron Laker fans embarrass the real
Yeah.
Laker fans and get us in the most trouble as far as like talking on social media because you can always tell when you have a
It's like
LeBron
the
fan.
bandwagon Warriors fans. This is like the same people. It's like, yeah, it's the same type. Yeah. I mean, obviously not the same people exactly, but it's just
Right.
annoying, talking massive trash, being disrespectful of the other
Yes.
team. Like, we're both champions here. Like, we can respect each other. It doesn't have to be, rude and inflammatory. Steve-O says light the green. I kind of like that. That's I think a take on light the beam.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cute. And a double entendre because there's Draymond Green and then of course other types of green that you might light. So Jim Everett the Great says Steph can't feel my legs. I'm too tired. Curry, Legoat solved Curry and Warriors in 2016.
Oh my
Okay, well,
goodness.
Legoat, got Draymond kicked out of Game 5, and then
he,
the refs
he
fouled
sure
Steph out of Game
did.
6, and then Bogut was injured, and Steph was playing injured. He was playing with a bad shoulder and a bad ankle. So, I mean,
Yeah, because
you
he could he
say what
could
you want.
literally barely shoot. Like he could
Yeah,
literally barely shoot because today, like people were talking about on TV, about you guys ought to remember that Steph didn't hardly put up any points in the fourth quarter, or
yeah,
0 points or something like that, or in the fourth or something like that. And I'm like, okay, the dude was hurt because Steph used to get beat up so bad, like
yeah.
shoulder,
He did.
leg, a wrist, and just everything,
That's why he kept working out, and he's
Right.
gotten bigger. He's gotten
He had
stronger,
to
so
get
that's
bigger
helped.
because he was just
Yeah.
so skinny and bony, and he just got like lit up by everybody around the NBA
Yeah.
and stayed hurt like all the time. So
Maybe that's what Tua needs to do.
he definitely needs to do that.
Jim Everett the Great says Clay got his feelings hurt game 1. Clay was real good in the first half. He wasn't as good in the second half.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Clay is going to be inconsistent. He's the only player to ever have an Achilles and an ACL and score over 30. So hats off to Clay, the Claymaker. Best hope he doesn't show up, Laker fans, or it could be trouble.
Yeah, they were
Ryan
they were talking about that also today, talking about, we still haven't had that Klay Thompson game. Like he always has one, you in
There
a
you go.
series. So that's what makes me nervous because like I said, I love the hell out of some Klay Thompson. I know what he can do. I have seen him just fire it off in the third quarter like 40 points. So
There you go.
he's definitely capable of just doing that at any given time.
He can go thermonuclear at any moment,
can.
no doubt. He can get hotter than Steph for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Brian Cups saying, I hope whoever wins the championship. I'll say I think whoever wins the championship, but I'm
so
not
too.
sure that I'll be rooting for the Lakers. I'm maybe not that good of a sport, but we'll see. We'll see who they play. If it's the Celtics, I might root for the Lakers. I'm not a big Celtics fan after the experience with them last year. So
It might not be the
tear them.
Celtics. We'll see what happens with
Might not be.
Boston, Philly.
They struggled with the Hawks.
Goodness.
They're
Yes. We'll
struggling.
see
They're
what's
struggling
going
with Philly.
on.
Yeah, I mean that's so wild. It's like Embiid's out, the Sixers win. Embiid's back, the Sixers lose. I guess just Boston was that hot. I mean, I was gonna tweet like, are the because people do that. Are the Warriors better without Draymond? I was like, are the Sixers better without Embiid? But I think you'd need to see a bigger sample size to even say something like that. And I kind of knew it was wrong, so I just didn't even bother. But it was interesting, to say the least. Pterodome saying Ramilia, it was disco last time the Rams mattered. Oh, snap. So he took the Ted Riley and took it back. Studio 54.
There you go, Pterodome.
Ouch. Ouch. Whoever wins should be allowed to light the beam. I know we need to get one of those things installed.
We really do. Really
if I can get lights in my studio, we need to get a beam on Chase Center. Cinnamon Kisses, I'm a GSW fan, but not a Lakers hater. Yeah, same with me. I don't hate the Lakers.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
There's just not enough. There's not enough playoff history to have hatred. Maybe after this series, we'll see.
The only Lakers that hate Golden State are LeBron fan Lakers. Right. They're the only ones that cannot stand, the Warriors.
3-1 and 3-1.
Almost every Laker fan that I know has no animosity because how can you? You haven't even went up against them and really done, anything in decades. So there's no, so there's no reason to have any animosity towards the Warriors. All that's LeBron.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Peachy, a future LA sports fan. I see her rocking Rams gear too.
Don't do that. That'll get you in a lot of trouble.
That's right, Jim.
That's my anger spot.
I got a hair trigger today.
Yeah, that's it. That's a bad. Don't do that. No.
Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator. He's saying there's a bunch of Cowboys Lakers fans here. He was the one who'd say, have a wine cooler and some pizza and sit down, when they caught the pedos on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Cinnamon Kiss since the 70s. Dang. So, I mean, I've been a sports fan since the 70s, but I really didn't get into the Warriors till Run TMC was when I started to get involved with the Warriors. Yeah. So I'm a little bit of bandwagon there, I'll admit. Great one saying Yankees, 49ers, and Bulls. MJ is the GOAT, no doubt about it. Yankees, they're a perennial powerhouse, big payroll, kind of like the Dodgers. The Dodgers are kind of like the Yankees, I should say. There's a bandwagon Lakers fans because of Kobe. Sure, Kobe was great. Is. He's up there. He's up there in that top conversation with LeBron. And Steph's starting to creep into it.
He sure is.
But used to be root for Lakers Celtics back then. Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. I didn't like Bird. I didn't like Parrish. I didn't like who is McHale. Yeah, I didn't like the Celtics at all.
Yeah, I'm not.
Or the Pistons. I was never a Pistons fan.
I know. Breezy.
I mean, I like Isaiah Thomas. It's hard not to like Isaiah Thomas, but the bad boy Pistons, they beat up Michael Jordan. I didn't like that. So
yeah, they created the Jordan rules.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So that's the only thing that irks me is like when me and my son are having the GOAT debate. And I'm like, I don't see anybody who created a book for LeBron rules. I said so. Yeah. You literally had a whole entire franchise that created Jordan rules. Yeah, I said there so. That's another
Chris
reason
Hansen says,
why.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you finish. I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say that it's really crazy how people, even still try to put LeBron over Jordan. And I'm like, there's no way on God's green earth. There's never been a better player than Michael Jordan. He's just the GOAT, and that's all there is to it. And no matter what anybody else does, they'll never like it'll never change.
It's
He'll
just people who didn't see
always
him
be
play
there.
live.
Right,
That's
exactly.
the thing about sports. It's really hard when you watch something back and you know the outcome. It's
Hmm.
really hard to get that emotion of what it felt like when you didn't
Yeah,
know what was going to happen,
right.
or when you kind of knew just because this is how they are, and you're like, it seems like they're going to lose, but I just know Michael Jordan's going to do it, and he did it. And like, wow,
And it
it was
wasn't just, it's like, I try to tell people, like, it's not just what he did, like out there physically in basketball. It's the mental, it's all the mental too that he took, and how hard, that they practiced, and he had them practicing like they were in games, and like he just took it all very seriously. He didn't have any friends. He was just, all about winning championships. And and LeBron, doesn't have a three-peat. You know what I'm saying? And MJ had like two. Like he went away and then he came back and he still got enough. You know what I'm saying? So
well,
you
and
just
Braun
can't do
ring
it.
chased. He's changed chains three times
Absolutely.
to do it too. That takes
Yes.
a little bit away. It's not huge. A lot of people ring chase. I get it, and I don't, it's like if you're not on a team, you kind of have to do it. But when you're the absolute star, like
Right.
I would hope you would get people to come to you rather than ditching out
Hmm.
2-3 times. So
It's
uh, it's because
it's
of
a
Steph. He's in all the highest rated games. That's true.
yeah,
That's
it's
true.
going to be a great game. It's going to be a great series. I have Lakers in 6 if the Lakers win tonight. So there's a caveat with that. I have Lakers in 7 if we don't win tonight, but if we win tonight, then I have Lakers in 6. Um I feel like the only way that that we would be able to do that is if we, won both games at Chase.
There you go.
So,
Jim
I
Rivett
think,
says Curry always needs help. Sorry, I had to catch up real quick
oh,
because he
sure, no
said Curry
problem.
always needs help, and I'm like, who doesn't need help? Like, who has won a ring? LeBron's got there without help, but he didn't win a ring without help.
Right.
So I mean, that's a
Now, I'm not
sorry.
exactly sure where that's coming from, but the other thing that I was gonna say is that
Yeah.
the one thing that I appreciated about the Warriors is that they were homegrown. I know that they added KD later on, you
Hmm.
know, and I still wish that they hadn't done that, but because I really think that if they had have just mentally been together and stayed together, I think that they would have probably won that next season without having that. I mean, they were what, a 73-9 team or whatever that was. And it's like you can't you know what I'm saying? Like you can't just do that. Like I just wanted them to just prove to everybody, that they didn't need that. Because they were all homegrown, they were all great in their own rights. And if they had done it, like I think they would have won that following year without him. I really do.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, I think that makes perfect sense. No doubt about it. At least I would say we would have won one out of the three because there were
Right.
three years of KD. Two we won. One was all
Yeah.
the injuries. I would say if Harrison Barnes had stayed, or if we had replaced him with someone
Mm-hmm.
else, we
Right.
would have won at least one ring out of the
Yeah.
three instead of two. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. But I do have to run. I have a
Yeah.
4:15 call, and they will be calling in like literally 1 minute.
Gotcha.
So we didn't get to the Niners, and that's okay. We
That's
had a
fine.
great Warriors Lakers. This is more pressing, but let's get
Yes.
together again and talk Niners draft
Absolutely. We
when
can do
when it
that.
works for your schedule, or
Okay.
maybe on your show if you're getting that set up soon. I know there's some
I
talk
am
of that
doing that
coming
very
up.
soon. Yes, I
Well,
am.
yeah. So, however it works out, but if not, come back here and we'll do it. I'll just say thanks, everybody. Peace. Go Dubs. Go Niners. If you want to do it, go Lakers.
Go Lakers.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Thanks, Peachy.